pretty clear vision. So what Team WIKISPEED did is we took one of the versions of our car and published it all in open source. So it's one of those 50 machines. One of their 50 machines was a car, and one of them is now one of the versions of the WIKISPEED car. Now we have other versions of the car that aren't totally open source, but one of them is. Without ever talking to us, you can build your own WIKISPEED car. And they're using parts of it to talk about how they're going to evolve their tractor. Now, John Deere has all sorts of interesting plans. And when they're talking about WikiDeere, there's some stuff that could get really exciting. And what I can say is, I signed an NDA on that. What I can say is, existing major companies are starting to do really interesting avant-garde things that most of us wouldn't have expected from those companies ever, but are becoming the norm to keep up with the rapid pace of evolution from this new global village that we all live in, with a lot of it being open source and collaborative. Now, WIKISPEED isn't wholly open source, but we have a complete open source car. Open source ecology is completely open source, and they have created a tractor system with interchangeable modules. Other companies are considering these tactics if it increases their pace to make change, and they're finding out that it does. The world is getting more awesome every day, and you can go online right now and look at all the plans, the budgets, the video instructions to build a tractor, and you can add a nuance to it and say maybe you don't have the entire project vision of a tractor, but maybe you say, you know, my uncle owns a corn farm, and when he attaches the corn head implement to harvest corn, it takes him like 3 tries, and he has to climb up into the cab and go down and modify the connection and go up into the cab again and try to do the connection. On this open source tractor, I'm going to put this idea I had down and see if anyone tries it and gives feedback. And you will get feedback from people all over the world saying, that's a pretty good idea. What if you did this? And it will evolve, and that will help everyone, because it's an open source. So if your question was, are we going to build a tractor next? Well, our car's modular, we could. But if your question is, are we going to build a modular tractor next? There's already a group focused on it that's doing amazing stuff that we're attempting to help in every way we can figure out how to help. So maybe that's happening already. I don't know if we, yes, Mike, paper, rock, scissors.
Thanks for sharing your enthusiasm. I have a question. As you look back at this journey that you've had, this awesome journey, can you think of the single most important moment where you had the ability either to imagine this future or to scale this future to what it has become now?
Thank you for asking. I think it was, can you think of the moment where you had an epiphany about the vision of this project or product?
The most important moment, what you were doing, what ideas are coming together to create this epiphany. Either to imagine this or to scale it.
Yes.
This is the most important moment in this journey.
Luckily, there was a clear moment, and I think it's talking to your question. I hope so. If it's not, email me. On my honeymoon, my wife is Japanese, and I was born in Indiana, and then have moved around the United States. And when we got married, we wanted her family to be able to come and mine too, so we went to Hawaii together, and we were able to have the same number from both of our families come, which was fantastic. And I love cars. And on Maui, there's this really twisty road called the Road to Hana. And Hana's this little town on the tip, and there's a cliff drop off to your left, and these white capped waves slapping against the side of the cliff. And to your right, it's basically rainforest. It is gorgeous. And so it's this wonderful driving road in the lush natural beauty. It's astounding. And we rented a turbocharged Mazda Speed Miata. And we're wagging the tail of the car as we go around newlyweds, and it's wonderful. And I had this moment where I thought, if it were this hot, dusty day and the air smelled like exhaust, even doing exactly what I'm doing wouldn't be nearly as enjoyable. It's that I'm in this relatively pristine natural setting. And if everyone in the world, almost 7 billion of us, got to enjoy the same feeling I'm feeling now, that'd be enough soot out of the tailpipe that those white cap waves would have a brown tint, and that rainforest would be more wilted. What I'm doing is really fun, but it's not actually sustainable. And something flipped. And it actually kept me up at night. And it still does. Each day, for whatever reason, if I haven't done something to make that same feeling, it's very feeling specific for me, it's absolutely in my gut, which I think is what I think actually makes an excellent product owner, if they actually feel it and can taste what the world will look like when it happens. I feel like I've made some progress towards people that are able to have that feeling while driving, which to me I think is one of the peaks of the automotive part of WIKISPEED, while being a little bit more, or a lot of it more environmentally sustainable, and at a lower cost of ownership, so that's not a privilege just for the ultra wealthy or elite, then I actually sleep very soundly at night. And that's when the bit flipped for me. And when I do product owner workshops, I don't call it guided meditation because that's a charged term. But I absolutely have everybody who's going to be a product owner take a deep breath, take an exhale, close their eyes and imagine the day in the life of the customer when they're using that product or service. And that seems to make a big difference in actually having them be a vision champion, which is probably the only absolute responsibility for a product owner in my view. I hope I talked close to your question. Please email me, I want Gong.
You're going to have to hang on to that one. Unfortunately, we're out of time. We're over, and we're supposed to be starting to finish up the room. I want to, all of you, please join me in thanking Joe for this. I really enjoyed being the scene. Thank you very much. If you do still have questions, I know Joe's going to still be around for a little bit, and of course his email address and all that other stuff. Thank you all for a wonderful Agile 2012 conference.